Hi, this is Phil LaMarr, and you're watching the Bois podcast.
So make sure you subscribe by hitting the link below.
And it's going to put a shock to your system.
And once you subscribe, it will be the brightest day.
Oh, fuck.
Is he a friend of yours?
Oh, Benson Marvin.
When I was 4, there was a hurricane in Kingston town with a foot and a half of water. Everyone was all right, but I cried all night. It blew my alphabet blocks out of order.
It's raining sideways!
Hope we can convince the police to let us talk to him.
Follow my lead.
You have no idea how happy you just made my pops.
Archie, you're naked.
In brightest day, in blackest night, no evil shall escape my sight. Beware my power! Green Lantern's light!
Slap, 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 clap, clap, clap.
R6, is that you? Meet me at the South Landing platform. I'll be right there.
You next, Fisto!
I'll be gone by the time you get here. Cannot be held responsible for the crimes of the original Orm.
Hawk's on his way. Call!
You insult me, sir. Something so easy would be a waste of my talent.
Color is reserved for Osh-Tech Cons.
Please, Craig, I just really want to experience the creek with my little brother.
And welcome back to an episode of the Bois podcast. I have a very, and I mean very, special guest today. He's an actor, voice actor, comedian, and screenwriter. You may have seen him as Marvin in Pulp Fiction, Hawk in Big Time Rush, which was so cool to see him in that, Paul Graves in Veep, and you may have heard his voices Hermes Conrad in Futurama, Ollie Williams in Family Guy, Static/Virgil Hawkins in Static Shock, Samurai Jack in Samurai Jack, Green Lantern, a.k.a. Jon Stewart in the Justice League, Bulby, and I'm not going to butcher his last name, that's a crazy last name to pronounce, Jimmy Neutron, Wilt in Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, Kit Fisto in Star Wars, my personal favorite role of yours, by the way, Aquaman and Young Justice, Baxter Stockman, my other favorite role of yours, in 2012's TMNT, Kultal Khan in Mortal Kombat, Ken in Fortnite, and Bernard in Craig of the Creek, and many more. So welcome the legend himself, childhood hero, the GOAT himself, Mr. Phil LaMarr. Welcome, Phil.
Hi. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.
And listing so many. You know, it's funny because you listed a bunch of shows that some fans of one don't know another.
It's crazy. Like, you've done so many, like, guys, like, he's my childhood writer. Like, this, you're a legend. That's all I'm going to say, Phil. Like,
oh, that's so nice of you. Thank you.
Always would have you on my TV at home. I still do to this day. It's awesome.
Appreciate it. Thank you for watching the good stuff.
So, Phil, what have you been up to? How's Phil doing? How you doing, Phil?
Doing good. Been still doing voice stuff, some on-camera stuff. Actually, during the pandemic, I got to do a couple of really fun on-camera jobs. I got to work on Better Things, which is that amazing FX comedy show created by and starring an old voiceover friend, Pamela Adlon, who is, you know, the Emmy-winning voice of Bobby on King of the Hill, but also a writer, director, and star of this incredible show based on her own life. That's still hilarious.
That's awesome. That's really cool.
Yeah, it was. And it's funny because one of the best things to me about my career is how lucky I've been to work with such amazing people.
Oh my God, yeah.
You know, incredible talent, incredible hearts, you know, and when they're all together, I mean, it's inspiring. Like, for instance, to be on set with somebody you've known for 20 years and watch her, you know, run the entire show and play a hilarious character right in front of you. It's like, oh my gosh. That's so like That's like, you know, having a pickup game with your buddy Michael Jordan.
True. That's true. That's awesome. Like, wow, that's really cool. I'm excited too. You guys are working, like, it's coming out soon. The new future, like the revival of Futurama.
Yeah.
That episode that comes out.
Yes, actually in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
July 24th, we've got the new episodes of Futurama. And again, another like wonderful, wonderful experience to come back to people, you know, we've been working together since 1998. And, you know, it's one thing just to do good work, but to do it with people that you love.
Yeah.
That is a wonderful gift.
It's about, like, I can tell you guys are like a tight-knit family in that cast. Billy West, Katie Seagal, like like John DiMaggio, the list could go on. Like, that cast is so gifted and talented. It's crazy.
Well, and the wonderful thing is to be working with these amazingly talented, you know, writers, actors, singers, you know, artists, and to have shared our lives. It's funny because I was at a convention with Lauren Tom a couple of weeks ago, and she mentioned, wow, when we started Futurama, you know, some of us weren't married yet. Most of us, none of us were parents yet. Now we have grown kids.
Yeah. Wow. How time goes by fast. Like,
right. And to be able to share that sort of, you know, growth of your life with such talented people, you know, Lauren Tom, Katie Seagal, Billy West, John DiMaggio, Maurice LaMarche, Matt Groening, David X. Cohen, you know, and the fact that we're all still alive, you know, and working together. It's so great.
Incredible. That's incredible. That's awesome. Like, and you work with,
and the new episodes are hilarious.
Ooh, okay. I'm excited. Honestly, I want it to come soon. Like, I wish it could, like, it'll go fast all the time. You know, time goes by fast. And you've worked with so many cool directors too, like oh my god, like with Samurai Jack, Pulp Fiction, like the list could go on.
Well, Joe, it's funny because people will always ask me, it's like, well, you've worked in cartoons, you worked in movies, you worked in TV. Which is your favorite?
That's tough.
And the truth of the matter is, I don't make a distinction between the media form as much as I make a distinction between the quality.
Yeah.
You know, when you work on an animated series like Samurai Jack with Gendy Tartakovsky or Futurama with Matt Groening, you know, that's as good as working on a movie with Quentin Tarantino. It feels the same.
Yeah, I guess that.
You know, because basically when you're with a genius, that's, you know, that's my favorite, is to work with genius creators.
Love that. That's really cool. Like, believe it or not, as a career, Mr. LaMarr Phil, I want to become a director because I love to write scripts too. That's what I want to do.
Oh, nice. Well, I hope, because I've never been a director, and I've always been impressed by the people who can do it, because it requires such an amazing, you know, view. You know, as an actor, all you have to do is understand the character and how to put it forth into the camera or the microphone or to the audience. But as a director, you need to understand the story, the acting, the technology, and the heart, you know, and put all of that together in your mind. I mean, it's basically like being an architect who has to build the building.
That's true. That is true. That is true.
You know, but, you know, I've seen, you know, I've worked with some really great ones, and this will be sort of advice to you, like working with somebody like Jason Reitman, you know, who is not just a legendary, you know, family. He is a legendary creator himself. And he showed me that the best directors are the ones who give you everything you need to do your job as an actor, as a lighting designer, whatever, but they also accept your creativity. You know, because, you know, there's some people who are divas, like, no, it's my vision, I want it, and they feel like they're just puppeteering everyone. But the great directors, they give and they accept.
Mm.
And maybe it's because they know it's like, wow, this designer is so great. I'm going to get credit for his amazing talent. But what it does is, as you know, part of their team, that's the thing. You feel like you're part of a team, part of a family. We're all in this together. It's not just, I am in charge. I am General Patton. You know, it's like, well, I got to go shoot. No, we're all working together. And I accept your suggestions and I give you mine. That's a great director. So I'm looking forward to you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. That's awesome. And then you said Mr. Reitman. I think his dad's Ivan Reitman, if I remember correctly.
Yes. Who I was lucky enough to get to work with as well.
That's awesome. I'm sorry.
I mean, and again, you were talking about, you know, childhood coming into your face. Getting to work with the guy who created Ghostbusters.
Oh my God, yeah. I can imagine.
So wonderful.
I'm sorry. That's when you say Ghostbusters, the theme song was going off in my head when you said.
Who are you gonna call?
Ghostbusters. That's really cool. Wow. So, what made you want to become a voice actor and actor, and who just is your biggest inspiration? Like, who did you like idolize? Was it?
Well, it's interesting because it was never a solid goal in my mind to be a voice actor. Part of that is because when I was growing up in the 70s and 80s, voice acting was not a term that anybody ever used. You know, like being a voice actor was not a job description.
Sorry.
I mean, people would talk about, oh, people do cards, but it was just the thing Mel Blanc did. You know, Mel Blanc and 7 other dudes voiced, 40 years of childhoods.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, I always joke to my friends that, well, before Bill Gates, tech billionaire wasn't a job description. Now it is. Now we have so many tech billionaires, and now we have so many voice actors.
Oh yeah.
We're not all just in Mel's shoes, although Eric Bauza's filling them up really, really well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's true. Wow.
And it wasn't until after I had started establishing my career as a professional actor that I made a turn like, maybe I'll start looking into the voice, path as well. And that was after I'd been working on Mad TV, and we did these claymation pieces.
Ooh.
So I was actually doing voice acting, but not thinking of it that way. Because we were already doing 7-8 characters per show. It's like, oh, now go into the booth and just record the voice for this character. I didn't make a distinction, between the kind of performance. But I had a friend, Cameron Meyer, who was an actress in New York. And every year we would talk to each other and say, you have such a pretty voice. You do too. Maybe you should do, voice acting. Well, maybe you should. And then one year after we had that conversation, like, you know what? I'm actually going to do it.
Let's go. Let's go. That's really cool. Honestly, wow. Now, if you wouldn't mind, can you do some voices for me? If you wouldn't mind, if I tell you some characters. Okay. By the way, I'm a fan.
But Joseph, ready yourself, because I know personally that it is an effect when you hear a voice from your childhood.
Yeah.
The very first time I got to do an episode of Scooby-Doo, I was just doing some side character, but we walk into the booth and Casey Kasem, the original voice of Shaggy, walks in, gets behind the mic, and they'll go, all right, Casey, can you give us a couple of lines so we can do the volume level? It's like, Jinky Scoop. And he starts doing the voice. And the hair stood up on the back of my neck. And I felt myself moving back in time. I'm like, I feel like I'm an 8-year-old boy with a bowl of cereal on my lap right now.
Oh my God. Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
No, Phil, you're at work. Like, oh, right.
Where are you? What happened? Oh man. Okay, so if I do this too, that's like me like going. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna get. Okay, so if you wouldn't mind, okay, it's a lot of characters. I hope you're ready for this. But I'm sure you could do it because you're a legend. So okay.
I hope I remember them all.
Hermes, Ollie, Virgil, Jack, Green Lantern, Bulby, Wilts, Kit Fisto, Aquaman, and Baxter Stockman.
Woo.
Okay.
Yikes.
Sorry.
Wait a minute. You can't just do voices willy-nilly. You gotta requisition them with the proper paperwork, boy.
You got Hermes. Sorry.
No, that is not true. Voices are throughout the galaxy.
Oh my God, Green Lantern. Sorry. John Stewart. Sorry.
What can you do? It's gonna rain!
Ollie,
Bulby worship giant space rock.
Wait a minute, there's a giant space rock? Where?
No, I don't think Bulby and John Stewart ever met. Maybe that's why.
That'd be a crazy interaction.
Those with power must respect themselves and restrain it.
That's Samurai Jack. Oh my God, sorry. I'm like freaking out.
I am so sorry, Joseph, my friend. That was a different sword-wielding character. That was my green friend, the Jedi.
Oh, Kit Fisto. I'm stupid. I'm sorry. Oh my God, Kit Fisto. I'm so sorry. I hope you're not mad, Phil.
No, you do not have to be sorry, my Padawan.
Oh, no, okay, no, okay.
There is no thing that you have done wrong.
It's so cool. Oh my God.
Wait, I forgot the list you said. But I did a bunch of voices. Is that everything? Is that okay? Oh wait, I don't remember if you said Wilt.
I did say Will. That's like.
Oh, okay.
I did. And then maybe like some of. Oh my God, sorry. Virgil. Oh, Static. So.
The name's Static, not Static Shock. And I appreciate that you actually made a distinction between the hero and the show name. Good job, Joe.
That's so cool. Oh my God. I'm freaking out right now. This is so cool. Oh man. Oh man, the child is coming. Oh my God. I feel like like you said, I feel like a little kid again. Like, oh my God, it's coming.
Right?
Oh, thank you, man.
I'm sorry too with the how I got the voices mixed up with Kit Fisto. I'm so sorry.
No. No, it's funny because they're a similar pitch, but just a slightly different accent. Well,
yeah, because isn't it Kit Fisto almost like a Caribbean type of thing in a way?
yes, when we started working on the character, the producers said that George Lucas had a concept that aliens of an aquatic nature maybe should have a similar way of speaking.
Okay. Wow. Also, I don't know if you noticed too, my shirt. I'm wearing a Star Wars shirt because I love Star Wars.
Wonderful.
I love Star Wars, so I'm a big Star Wars guy.
Well, hopefully the wars will be over. Thank you. If you help the rebellion.
Sorry, Bail Organa.
Yep. Wow, that is so cool. I'm sorry. And then I love too, like with Hermes, too, like the bureaucrat song. That song's catchy. I'm telling you that right now.
Yeah, and I have to say, because that was early on in my voiceover career, and I've never considered myself a singer per se, and so the first time I had to sing professionally, I'm in a room with Katie Seagal, who used to sing on stage with Bette Midler.
Yeah, that's true.
And Billy West, who is a rocker, a singer, a guitarist, as good as his voice acting. So it's just like, okay, well, hope I can keep up with them.
But,
Phil, you can't sing.
but the character can. Even though you're with Dawn Lewis, the woman who sings the theme song to her on-camera show.
That's so cool. Like I don't know how you do it. Like that, voice actors deserve so much credit. Like you could switch from one to the other. Like how? That's awesome. I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. Like,
no, I've just been very, very lucky to, even the shows that don't keep going, I've still been able to hold on to.
That's awesome right there. Like wow. Sorry.
And maybe that's because I've been so lucky to have so many shows come back from the dead. Futurama, Family Guy,
yeah,
Samurai Jack. You know.
That's true. That is true. Now, of all those roles, and this might be tough, do you have a favorite of all those roles?
Well, it's interesting how one picks one's favorite as a performer, because it can be the role itself, as it's written and what you got to play, like as Jon Stewart.
I got to play a galactic hero who was on trial for destroying a planet and who was in an alien love triangle with my ex-girlfriend tried to take over the planet.
But then there's also the experience of working with the people you're working with. And as I mentioned before, working with genius creators, like, Gendy Tartakovsky, Dwayne McDuffie, Matt Groening, that alone, even if you're just doing a minor part, like, in Pulp Fiction, I had maybe 4 or 5 lines, but getting to be a part of that genius work, can make it your favorite, or sometimes, there's the part, there's the people, and sometimes, although rarely I think you pick your favorite based on the success. I used to tell this joke about the actor's nightmare being, you work on a movie for 8 months in Thailand and you don't get to see your child be born. You have dysentery for 3 months. You break a finger. The whole thing is a terrible experience. And then it goes on to become the biggest movie, twice as big as Titanic. And you spend the rest of your life having people come up to you and remind you of the worst 6 months of your life. But is that your favorite role? It's like, well, it bought me a house.
That's true.
But to me, that's the actor's nightmare. If people just keep coming up to you for reminding you of your worst experience ever, because the success of something isn't necessarily tied into how good a time you had making it. But I've been lucky enough to work on successful things that have been wonderful experiences, So, and if you get one of those in a career, that's a win. I've got more than one.
That's awesome. See, if I could rank like my favorite voice actors, you're number one. I'm being honest.
Oh, dude, number one. So, I mean, the people you've had on this show,
you saw
say that to me. That's an amazing compliment. Thank you.
Yeah, you're number one. I would say number 2 is my good friend Tom Kenny. Tom Kenny.
Yes.
He's very kind. Oh my God, humble, down to earth, like you.
Yeah. Well, and Tom and I knew each other before either of us did voices.
Oh, yeah, because he was his wife was in Second City too, Jill Teller.
Yeah, Jill. Yeah, Jill and I go back too. But yeah, Tom and I did sketch comedy, before we got into voiceover, and have gotten to work on shows like Foster's together.
That's so cool. Like it's like so cool to like. It's like, oh my God, how you been? Long time. It's like,
right. It's like, and the fact that he can do so many amazing. Actually, Tom blew my mind once in an episode of Clone Wars.
Okay.
The episode where Kit Fisto takes on General Grievous. I'm watching the episode, and it's not until the end when the credits come up I realize Tom voiced my Padawan, because we didn't record it together.
You're like, oh my God, That's crazy.
I've known this guy for 20 years and didn't recognize his character voice. That's how good he is.
And then, if you're curious, my third favorite is another good friend, Bob Paulson.
Yes. Rob, to me, is the legend of voice acting. I've learned so many lessons from him.
He's so, like I said, he's another guy. He's so humble. He cares about, like, he really cares about his fans. Like, every time he comes here to Chicago, he's like, Joe, how's it been, my friend? Like, he gives me like this big hug. Like, he's so kind and considerate. Like, I'm sorry.
Yeah. I mean, to me, Rob Paulson and Kevin Conroy embody the voice acting world because, you know, as somebody who's been in show business a long time and in a lot of different realms, I would arguably that voice acting is the most warm-hearted part of show business.
Yes, because it makes so many people's childhoods. Like, it's like people could relate to the characters. Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
And the experience of it. I mean, if you're a movie star and you're an awful person, doesn't matter. They'll keep hiring you over and over again. But for some reason, and I think it's because the voice acting world is sort of a village. It's a lot of the same people working over and over again on different things. It's much more about, hey, let's work together, you know, and that heart and the talent and the heart that Rob, you know, embodies is to me part of our industry.
Yeah. I wish you could come out here because I think you were originally supposed to be here for Wizard World back in 2020, I think it said, but then they canceled because of COVID, you know.
Right, of course. Yes, no, I like you mentioned, I spent time in Chicago during college because I had a college improv comedy group.
The Purple Crayon?
Purple Crayon of Yale, yes.
Yep.
And our group took, you know, a trip for the summer to Chicago, which for an improv group to go to Chicago, that is like a religious pilgrimage. You know, that's like, you know, religious people going to Jerusalem.
I wish, like, you gotta come to Chicago. Like, I would love to meet you in person too, Phil. Like, when I meet you, I'm like, oh my God, Phil. Sorry.
Yes.
That's so cool. Now, can you walk me through the audition process? How did you land the roles? You could choose one. You could choose two of these four. One of these. Like, okay, so either Hermes, Conrad, Samurai Jack, Green Lantern, or Wilt. If you could choose two of those four, you could say all four. Up to you.
Well, it's interesting, Joe, because most of the auditions you don't remember because most of them you don't get.
Okay.
And I would say there's probably only a handful of specific auditions that I actually remember. Because, you know, when you know, your agent contacts you and tells you there's this role, here's the material, you're scheduled to go in at this time on this day. And it's the same process for the jobs you get as for the jobs you don't get. You get up, you drive, you know, they bring you in. And I mean, the only things that makes them different are if you're, say, walking into a Fox studio office and auditioning for Matt Groening. It's like, oh my God, I'm in here with the guy who created The Simpsons.
Yeah.
That one you remember.
Yep.
And being a comic book nerd, I definitely remembered auditioning for Justice League.
That you were like, oh my God, that's like a guy I read in that must be so cool. Like I understand, like, oh my God, that's like that's Green Lantern. That's the guy. Like I look like. I'm sorry. I love superheroes. I'm a bit.
Well, the funny thing was, I remember sitting there waiting, and the person who went in to go audition ahead of me was the actor Dennis Haysbert.
Oh, the guy that's all in those. Is he also in the commercials?
Yeah, Allstate commercials.
Yeah,
you're in good hands with Allstate. And he looks like the character.
That's true.
He's huge. He's strong. He's got that deep voice. So, you know, I'm looking. It's like that's the guy. If he walked in the suit, they would have just cast him.
That's the real life version. Oh my God, it's
right. So, you know, when I walked in,
I had Dennis's voice in my head.
But, I got to read the, because that's the other part of the audition process, is it points out that voice acting is a collaborative performance.
Mm-hmm.
There's what's on the page, but there's also what's in the creator's mind.
Yeah, what's he envisioning, basically?
Yes. And, you as the actor read what's on the page, the description, the lines, and you put forth your idea of it. And you see how much your idea lines up with the creator's idea. And usually what will happen is they'll go, okay, Phil, that was pretty good. That's pretty good. Can you give him maybe more of a sense of, and they'll give you some sort of direction. He's not real arrogant or anything. He's, and they'll give you a direction, something else to add into it.
I'm Jon Stewart.
No. He's a real heartfelt guy.
All right. I'll pull it back to somewhere like this.
And you make your adjustment, and hopefully then it lines up with the voice that's in the creator's head. And if it does, that's when you get the job. If it doesn't, but they like what you do, it's like, all right, thank you. Next.
Yep.
Although actually, I think really what happens is they guide everybody, and then afterwards they listen back to all the tapes. And so it's your version up next to someone else's version. And then they have to decide, okay, which of these versions embodies our vision the most.
Wow. That's so cool. Like, oh my God, that's funny that Dennis, that's funny. Like how I could see that he does like resemble, like if you said like, oh my God. Wow. Like imagine they had the ring too.
Right. Well, and also that collaborative process lets the creators and directors know whether they want to work with you. Because if they give you a suggestion of maybe you can do something like this, and then you can't do it. Okay. Or maybe this actor doesn't have the range we need, or
he's just really good at powerful, strong voices.
All right, let's bring him back to play Darkseid.
I love comic books. Like, oh my God! Like, I hope
so you know those references. Thank you.
Yes. Like, I hope you like the comics though.
Oh yeah.
Wow. Now, top 3 favorite cartoon characters that you don't voice. I'm curious, like in general, like SpongeBob's cartoon character, Bugs Bunny, like a character you don't voice. Like top 3.
Well, I mean, growing up, I always used to say that my favorite actors were Sidney Poitier and Bugs Bunny. And, I consider Bugs Bunny my favorite actor. So, I mean, as far as cartoon characters, and actually, it's a little embarrassing. I love Bugs Bunny so much that I can't play it.
Because then you would maybe judge yourself.
Yeah, there was a period a few years ago where they were recasting the Looney Tunes characters, and they set out a CD with Mel Blanc's original records of all the characters.
Wow.
And I'm going through them, and every time I would try to do, I do a lot of impressions, but when I would do Bugs Bunny, I would still hear a little bit of me in it, and I would judge it. It's like, no, that's not Bugs Bunny.
That's not Bugs Bunny. I get that. I get that. Yeah.
When you love a character so much, you hear it. It's like, if I could not sound exactly like Mel Blanc to myself, I wouldn't even submit the audition, and I didn't. And that's why I'm so impressed with people like Billy West and Eric Bauza, and actually my friend Greg Baldwin, who took over the role of Aku from Mako. They are, doing the same voice that the original performer did, but more importantly, they are playing the character in the same way and as good as those legends.
Yeah. In my opinion, though, I can't imagine a different person to play Green Lantern, Jack. Like, you're the perfect guy for these roles. So.
Oh, well, I mean, no, the great thing is there's there's a lot of people who've gotten to voice Jon Stewart.
Yeah.
You know, Kevin Michael Richardson, Aldous Hodge, you know, and they did a great job. Because the thing is, we don't own these characters. You know, if I play Hamlet in a production of Shakespeare, I didn't write it. And that doesn't mean I'm the only person. Everybody else has to do my Hamlet. You know, nobody goes back and watches a tape of Laurence Olivier and is like, I'm going to make Hamlet sound like this. No, it's always about the performance, you know, not the actor.
Like you're very gifted, like honestly, very cool, talented, humble. Sorry. Wow. That's really cool. Now, how did it feel to come back and portray Hermes in the new up and coming drama, this revival? How did it feel to come back?
It was so great. Although with Futurama, it's a little different experience because we've come back from cancellation 4 times.
Yeah.
So for us, it's pretty much just a habit at this point. Okay, wait, how many years off?
Don't worry about it. At least it's not the year 3000 yet. But perhaps we'll still be doing a new season then.
That's so cool. Oh my god. Sorry. That's awesome. Like I'm excited. Like I said earlier on, like if these new episodes come, I'm gonna watch them. I'm telling you that right now. Cool.
Yeah, you're gonna like them.
Now, is there a certain type of role you would like to do? Like it could be like a new role, like a superhero villain.
Well, you know, it's interesting because a lot of people say that, like, you know, I don't think that way, because to me, if I'm watching a role or, you know, if it's great, then I'm not thinking, oh, I want to take over that.
I get that. Yeah.
Hey, Leonardo, I should be on the Titanic. No, you know. And if the role isn't done well, you definitely go, I could have done that better. Why didn't they hire me for that? No. But I mean, there are iconic characters like Bugs Bunny or Batman, you know, or Spider-Man, which, you know, are characters that matter to me, but I don't think of them as I'm going to go play them. It's like, I just want to see another great, you know, Batman, Spider-Man, and, you know, one of those, you know, projects. Although with Batman, it's almost like Bugs Bunny. Because to me, no, I think all the on-camera Batmans should sound like Kevin.
Kevin's the GOAT. I'm sorry, he's not a GOAT.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
You know, it's funny because years ago at a Comic-Con, I met a Spanish actor, Cristiano, who was the Spanish voice of Batman. He, you know, when they would dub the American stuff, he would voice it, but not just the cartoons, the live action. So in Spain, all Batmans had the same voice.
That's crazy to think about.
And I
Wow.
remember thinking, we should do that in America.
Yeah, what the?
Kevin, go dub Ben Affleck.
Yeah, well, yeah, I get that. Well,
no, nobody was thinking that. You don't cast Ben Affleck to, you know, mute his voice.
Yeah, just make him just be a face actor.
No, yeah, you want him to perform Batman, and he did a good job.
Are you excited for, since you're a superhero fan? Are you excited for the new superhero movie? I mean, Superman movie.
I don't know. I haven't heard much about it, but you know, it's funny because I'm friends with several Supermen. You know, George Newbern, Tim Daly, Brandon Routh, you know, Tyler Hoechlin. You know, and the thing is, I would not say that any one of them, you know, isn't great.
Yeah,
they're all super.
Sorry, that's
you know?
that's funny fun. So.
And I feel that same way about all of us who play Jon Stewart. It's like, hey, we're a team-ish.
Now, this might be tough. Of all the people you work with, who's the coolest you work with?
Oh gosh. Well,
like,
I mean, that's tricky because, I've worked with, amazing young talented people. Like I remember working with Eric Bauza on one of his first jobs, and this kid walked in the room. I was like, oh, wow, like we were working on a DreamWorks first animated TV show, Turbo Fast, and I was voice matching the Snoop Dogg character from the Turbo movie, and Eric was voice matching the Paul Giamatti character from the Turbo movie. We're all doing these, racing snails. And this guy who's relatively new in the, voiceover world right then walks in and is voice matching one of my college classmates. Paul and I had gone to college together and done plays together.
That's sorry.
Before he was famous. And so to watch somebody come in and do an amazing impression of somebody you've known for 20 years, like, oh, this guy's incredible.
Paul's here.
And Eric Bauza went on. Like, eventually, everybody realized how amazing he was. But then I've also gotten a chance to work with people who were legends in my head before I became an actor. I had the good fortune to work with George Carlin, Carol Burnett.
Oh my God, yeah.
Adam West, John Travolta. These are all people I grew up watching.
Sorry.
And then to be, on set with them, it could be intimidating in your head. It's like, oh my God. It's like, I'm on Mount Olympus among the gods. I don't know if I can. But all of those people were so warm and inviting and welcoming, So it was a wonderful, wonderful experience.
You were like, that's another thing. Like, you worked with so much good talent. Like you said, John Travolta. Like, wow. Like, I'm sorry. That's just wow. That's incredible.
And it's wonderful because you learn just from watching how they do things.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like it makes you better to work with people that good. Like in sports, they always say, you want to play against people who are really good. That moves your level up.
Yep, that's true.
But with acting, you're not playing against, you're playing with.
Yep, that's true. Like you said, we're all in this together.
Yeah.
Now, if you didn't go into voice acting or acting or the entertainment business, what do you think you would have done as a career? I'm curious what you should have done instead. And what other hobbies do you have? Like hiking, biking, drawing, I don't know.
No, that's actually an interesting question because I did not grow up thinking I'm going to be a professional actor. Even though I did plays starting in junior high all the way through college, but it wasn't until I was, we had graduated college and was flying home to California and realized I got to decide what I'm going to do with my life.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I thought, well, why don't I give this acting thing a try? I like it. And there's a few people who say I'm pretty good at it. If I don't do it now, I'll have to wait till my mid-40s midlife crisis when I quit my insurance job and try to be an actor. But no, I think because I was an English literature major, had I not gone down the acting route, I might have gone into teaching.
I can see that.
I mean, my initial day job, this was before the internet existed. I was people would hire me to go do library research for them.
Really? I know that's what?
Yeah, it's like, okay, here's what the things I need to go to the library, make copies of this and bring it back to me.
I didn't know that's cool.
Well, it is not a thing now. And it wasn't even much of a thing then.
Oh, wow. So now, do you have any hobbies? Anything you do?
I play rec league softball.
Really?
Because I've been a big baseball fan since I was a kid.
You're a Dodgers fan, if I remember correctly.
Yes, big time. Yeah, and that's why one of my highlights of my career and life was in 2002. We got to do this celebrity, baseball game at Dodger Stadium.
Oh, you're like, oh my God, this is so cool.
Yeah, it's like I get to play where Davey Lopes and Steve Garvey played. It was such a wonderful experience, and also it was funny because looking back on it, there were some people there for this event who I knew were famous. Gary Marshall, the creator of Happy Days, was playing catcher, even though he was in his 70s. But there were other people, Tony Danza was there. And it's funny because there were some people who went on to much bigger careers. Bryan Cranston was there.
My God, yeah. Now he's Walter White now.
Yes. It was because back then it was just Malcolm in the Middle. And people who have gone on to be friends with. Sean Astin, who was already famous because he was famous as a kid. Sean and his brother Mackenzie, who I used to play softball with. And my good friend Ashley Eckstein, who we hadn't met yet then, but now, we would then later go on to do Clone Wars together in about 5 years. And we've known each other, going on 20 years now.
Sorry. Wow.
Yeah.
It's you mentioned Sean Astin. His mom was a legendary actress too.
Yes.
Eddie
And
Duke.
his father.
Yes.
I mean, the fact that Sean just impresses me so much because the fact that you can come from those parents and still have the confidence to think you can act.
Yeah. He's so humble. Like, oh my God, too. Another humble.
Yeah.
I've interviewed him. I met him too in person. Like, super, like, wow.
Yeah. And bright and heartfelt, and now he's representing us, with our union. And I'm like, yes, because he cares.
Yeah. He's the perfect guy.
Yes.
Awesome. Now, favorite band or artist and type of music? I'm curious what kind of music you like, Phil. What kind of music?
Ooh, that's interesting. Like I said, I don't consider myself a singer. I was never a big music person growing up. I would just listen to whatever my buddies wanted to put on.
Okay.
Although currently my favorite music performer is my son. He just graduated from this music program at NYU, and he's incredible. He is a singer, a dancer, a producer, and a rapper.
Ooh, okay.
He's so talented. It's funny because the NYU graduation was held at Yankee Stadium.
That's so cool.
And they had, the Tisch School of Performance Art had singers sing at the graduation, and my son was part of this group. So I'm like, dude, you're performing for 30,000 people at Yankee Stadium? That's the start of a career?
Like, yeah. Does your son have any music on any streaming platforms or anything? I can check them out.
Yes. He goes by the name LaMarr, IZLAMARR, and he's got these amazing. He's got this song on Apple Music and Spotify called "Talk," which I think on Spotify is already over 100,000
wow
downloads, and it's so great.
That's awesome. Well, if you like, could my guests, I could link their stuff. If you want, I can link your son's Spotify and Apple, help them out.
Yes. Oh, thank you. That would be so wonderful.
That's awesome. I'm happy for you. I'm happy for you.
Thank you.
Wow. Now, since you're a superhero guy, favorite top 3 Marvel/DC heroes and villains. Top 3. You're a fellow comic book person, so.
Well, see, now it's funny because as a performer, hard to pick favorites. As a fanboy, not hard. Batman and Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I would have said that 40 years ago. But to now have been able to be part of the worlds of those characters, and to be able to meet Stan Lee and Neil Adams. Actually, this is my big moment as a comic book fanboy. I got to introduce Kevin Conroy to Neil Adams at a con one time.
That is,
to me, the two men who are most responsible for making Batman cool again.
yes.
I mean, Adam made him popular, with the 60s Batman series, but that was not the same as 1939 Batman. But Neil Adams' art in the 70s and Kevin's portrayal in the 90s have made Batman so cool. That's why they keep making movies to this day.
That's awesome.
And to me, Spider-Man, what Stan did in the 60s with Spider-Man is similar to what Static Shock did to Saturday morning cartoons. They brought a feeling of realness into the fantasy world. Because before that, before the 60s, comic books were just, heroes fighting, blah, 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 blah. There was no feeling. Nobody ever thought, oh, that's something. But when you watch this teenage boy, having to deal with going to class and fighting villains.
Yep, class, struggle with
something. It was something that we as readers and kids could relate to. Nobody has ever related to, 40s Superman. Well, oh man, I'm glad my planet hasn't blown up. No, nobody ever said that. But the fact that, Stan Lee and Marvel was set in real cities, New York, Queens, not Gotham, Metropolis. He said, no, guys, these characters are like you. They're people.
Yep. Wow. See, I love superheroes. I'm a big comic book guy. Like, legit, I have over hundreds of comics, thousands, almost. Like, wow. That's incredible.
And did you watch the new She-Hulk series?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Wasn't that amazing?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Like
just wow. Like I'm excited. Wow, I'm like wow. I could geek out about comics like forever.
I know. Yeah. Sorry. If we'll be on here for 2 more hours. Us fanboying about comics.
Well, we could be like, oh, so what'd you think about this comic?
Right. Rom. No, stop it.
Now, what are some of your favorite movies and TV shows that you haven't been a part of? Like some of your favorites.
Wait, the ones that I haven't been a part of?
Yes.
That
like
I just
like Back to the Future is like one, Rocky, like some of your favorites. I don't know. I don't know if you like.
Well, one of my favorite shows is Abbott Elementary.
Ooh, okay.
I think that's so amazing. And The Rookie. Although I've worked with Nathan Fillion, I got to do, a couple of episodes of Castle, but I love the concept of that show, and he's always amazing. He's amazing in everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are definitely 2 of my favorite shows.
I personally like Nathan. He was in Buffy. Do you know Buffy?
Yes!
I liked him in Buffy.
That's another thing I'm a big fanboy of. When we were working on Mad TV, the morning after Buffy aired, I'd come in. It's like, oh my God, guys, there was such an amazing episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. But back in the 90s, people were like, wait, what? What? Shut up, Bill. That sounds goofy. Like, no, this is the best show on television.
Yeah.
But people didn't take it seriously because of the name.
Sorry. It's a classic too. Like honestly, Sarah Michelle Gellar, Allison Hannigan, Nicholas Brennan, James Marsters. Sorry,
and thanks to Kevin Smith, who is a friend and another genius, that I've gotten to work for. I finally got to meet Sarah Michelle.
That is
because we got to work together on Masters of the Universe Revelation.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yep. Mm-hmm. You're like, oh my God, it's Buffy. Oh my God.
Right. I'm like, okay, be cool. Don't just, it's like, act like a peer, not just, oh my God,
At least you were a vampire. Oh man. No, I know this is you mentioned earlier. Favorite sports and teams. I'm assuming baseball and Dodgers.
Yeah. Mhm.
Do you have any favorite
And
players?
it's actually embarrassing because, I'll have friends who are like, yeah, we're doing this, betting pool for the, March Madness. I'm like, I don't follow basketball. I mean, you can take $5, but I don't care. I don't know who's going to win, and I don't care.
Like who's who? Like who?
Yeah, I don't follow. And it's really embarrassing. It's like, Super Bowl will roll around, and I realize, I don't even know who's playing. Like, people always look at me like, dude, I thought you were straight. No, I am. I just don't follow football.
You love your baseball, your Dodgers.
Exactly. Yes.
Do you have a favorite current player, and then all-time player then, since you're a Dodgers fan?
Ooh, that's tough because the players move around. I mean, Clayton Kershaw is amazing. But actually, there were a bunch of players that I was really attached to that they've now traded off.
You're like, no, why?
Justin Turner.
Oh yeah.
Corey Seager. It's like, now they're scoring against us.
Yeah, you're like, what the heck? Yeah, I get that.
But no, there's some, Sean Green was an amazing, D. Gordon, Matt Kemp. But of course, now they're all gone because that is the nature of baseball. Even if you were a Hank Aaron fan, it didn't matter if you were a Milwaukee Braves fan or an Atlanta fan because he moved around. So yeah, it's funny because I play MLB The Show like hours every week. And what I do is I restructure the roster and I pull in all of my favorite players and make them Dodgers.
That's all. So you're a PlayStation guy then, I'm assuming?
Yes, I'm a PlayStation guy. So yes, I put the Angels, the new Babe Ruth, Shohei Ohtani.
Mm-hmm. You make him a Dodger.
On my TV, he's a Dodger.
That's really cool. I'm a PlayStation guy too, so that's why you're so cool. You're a fellow PlayStation guy.
Oh, nice.
Do
you play Mortal Kombat?
Yes. Oh yeah. Yep. Cast support, That's awesome.
Oh, thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Now, what is your favorite food? What's your favorite food?
Oh, I'm not much of a foodie. Okay. I'll eat whatever's for me. It's just fueling. So if it's a burger or a hot dog or risotto, whatever.
I ask because whenever you come to Chicago, like, hey, you want this? I got you, Phil.
Chicago pizza.
You like the pizza here? Did you ever have it? Did you?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I think. We actually once we even went to that burger place that the John Belushi sketches were based off of.
Mm-hmm.
Cheeseburger. Because when you do sketch comedy, you have to go to that place in Chicago. Again, another pilgrimage.
Now, are there any projects in the works? Anything coming up? Anything percolating? Anything coming up?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, aside from the new season of Futurama, there's Mulligan is already out. There's this new animated show on Netflix that Tina Fey produced.
Ooh.
Stars in, and I get to play another green character, another green alien. And also, what else is up there? Oh, I worked on this Audible series called Moriarty, and hopefully we'll be doing another season of it. Yes.
Yeah, right there.
Where I got to play another character that was iconic to me growing up, Sherlock Holmes.
Ooh.
But thankfully, I never heard his voice while I was reading the books, so I could audition for that one.
That's true.
Although it's funny because as I auditioned, I kept thinking of the actor who had played Sherlock Holmes in the movies, the 40s movies I watched when I was growing up, Basil Rathbone. And to me, his voice embodied Sherlock Holmes in a very nice way. And that is part of what, is in part of my version. He's part Basil Rathbone and part the voice I heard when I read my entire collection of Conan Doyle's Sherlock Holmes books.
That's so cool. Whatever, I like to do this too for any guests I can. Any projects that come out of yours, like even when Futurama comes out, I'll tell people, hey, make sure to check this out. Help support these awesome people.
Yeah. Wait, there was something else. Oh, there's a new Babylon 5 movie.
Okay.
That's coming out. And we're doing this animated show based on this wacky 60s underground comic, The Fabulous Furry Freak Brothers. And we're doing a second season of that. And I'm in that along with Andrea Savage, John Goodman, Pete Davidson, and yeah, I mean it's an incredible cast. And also, wait, I think Jason mentioned this in his interview with you. We're doing an animated show called Captain Fall.
Well, you're in Captain Fall with Jason Ritter?
Yeah, he was so great in that.
I'm excited for that to come out. So now, since you're both in, I'm gonna make sure check out Jason and Phil and Jason's project. That's
thank you. Wow. Yeah. It was. It's wacky. It is definitely not a Saturday morning cartoon. And it was funny to watch Jason play this character, and also know it's like that. He did Dipper. I'm like, wow, dude, this is a whole other range of character performance. Good for you.
And you want to mention great actors. His dad, John.
Yes.
Sorry.
His dad was another one of my legends growing up.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Who I would hold up as, along with Bugs Bunny and Sidney Poitier, John Ritter, because he along with Henry Winkler, they were my comedic icons.
Mm-hmm.
And the physical comedy that John did on Three's Company, amazing.
That show was really awesome. I'm sorry, I kept laughing. Did you know Jason was actually in the theme song? Did you know, like, as a little kid?
What? No.
Yeah, did you know that? Like, okay, so in one of the, I forgot what season it was, but one of the opening credits, do you remember the petting zoo with Joyce DeWitt? Like the little boy, that little boy was Jason as a kid.
No way! Oh, that's wonderful.
A little Easter egg, I guess.
Thank you for that. You know what I'm going to be doing after this? Go looking for that.
It's on YouTube if it helps.
Yeah.
Wow. What advice would you give younger people who want to become a voice actor and actor? What is Phil's advice? From the GOAT. What's the GOAT's advice? I'm sorry, you're a GOAT. So.
Ooh. Well, I mean, it's funny because I posted a video on my Facebook page, because this question gets asked a lot. And on the video I mentioned, it's like, well, I can't give general advice. You want to give specific advice. So my advice to you is learn your strengths, your weaknesses, your voice, and focus on the fact that voice acting is a misnomer. Because it says voice acting, but in truth, the acting comes before the voice. You have to be able to embody characters, bring them to life off the page. And what you choose to do with your, vocal cords in order to do that is secondary to being able to interpret the character.
True.
Because, voice acting is the same as camera acting and stage acting. It's just a different medium. You're doing it to a microphone instead of to a camera or to a group of people. But your job is to take this writer's idea that they type down on page and put it into the audience's heart.
Yes.
That's the job.
I always like to add this, like, stay humble. Remember where you came from. I could tell you're very humble. I could tell Phil you're very down to earth.
Well, no, I mean, I definitely, appreciate people, saying great things and, giving credit. But the truth of the matter is, as a voice actor, I am at most 33% of these iconic characters, because without the writing and the animation art, they would not be as impactful on you.
Impactful, yeah, it's true.
You know, it's not just, you know, if I was a radio play, then I would take credit for all of it.
Wow. Now, would you be willing in the future, somewhere like in the future, come back on for a part 2, answer some fan questions? Like I could say so-and-so asked him a question.
Oh, of course.
Let's go. I'm sorry. That's awesome. Now, before I ask you my last question, Phil, do you have any questions? I'm curious. What you got?
No questions for me.
Questions? You want to learn anything? I don't know.
Wait, no, actually one question I did have is, when do you post this? Because I want to make sure I get to, send out word that when this goes up. Is it go up quickly or in a week?
I'm actually planning on purposely doing it, posting on this Thursday. Thursday, the 13th, brother's birthday.
Oh, wonderful. Okay. So yes, I'll make sure to repost whatever you put out there to try to get people so they can hear us talk.
Thank you, Phil. Thank you. I don't really use Twitter as much. I use Instagram because Twitter's too musky. You know what I mean?
Same. Yeah, I've not been on Twitter in 2 years now. However, yeah, since it got musky.
Yeah.
That's when I started TikTok.
I get that. Yeah.
Which is wild. It's like, oh God, this is like producing.
Yeah, I don't have a TikTok because I don't know how to use it. I'm like, how do you use this?
You got to edit and shoot. It's so much work. But I would rather do that work than put more money in his pocket.
Yeah. Go away, Musk. Sorry.
Yeah.
All right.
Clear the air. Clear the air.
Yeah. You get what I mean. Now, Phil, is there anything you would like to promote and shout out? Like I'll link down below in the description so the viewers can check out for you. Yep. Anyway. I know your son's music. I'm for sure going to do that for you.
Yes.
Son's music.
Yes, I'm trying to think if there's anything else we need to promote.
Watch Futurama. That comes out.
Sure. Yes. The new season of Futurama, and the Mortal Kombat Legends movie.
Ooh, okay.
And my son's amazing work. Those are the main things that I would love to promote. Thank you.
Yeah. Would you want me to also link down below your Instagram and TikTok?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Nice.
I probably won't. I'm sorry. I probably won't link your Twitter because musky. Sorry, but you know what I mean?
No. I don't post that. I took it off my webpage.
I respect that. I get what you mean.
But I also did not delete the account because I was afraid he would let somebody put up a fake LaMarr account.
Parody, yeah. I get that. You don't use it anymore until it gets less musky. Get away with this.
Right? It's like, well, if I leave, then there might be
a fake guy.
Nazi Phil LaMarr posting. Like, what? No! No, he paid for a blue check. What?
Yeah, that's what I hate too. Like, you have paid for there's so many. It's so easy to personally. It's one other. It's like, really? Sorry.
Yeah. Well, let's not get into that. We could go on for another 40 minutes talking about
another thing with the comic book conversation.
Right. Oh, wait. Sorry. We'll talk about your brother later.
Okay. Thank you again, Phil, for being an awesome and amazing guest. I had a fun time chatting with you. Thank you.
This was your show is so great, Joseph.
Thank you.
I'm so happy to be on it. Thank you for letting me be here.
Big part of my childhood, everyone. Thank you, Phil. Again, too big part. Have a great day, everybody, and stay awesome. And you stay awesome, Phil. Okay.
Thank you for letting me be on the Bois podcast.
I just saw a fly pass you because I don't think you have a fly.
Yeah.
The stock flies in there. Extra stock. We got fly swatter.
Yeah, well, this is my recording booth.
You see the fly too, right? I'm not crazy.
I mean, the only thing worse than having a fly in your recording booth is a cricket.
Oh yeah, the cricket noise or cicada.
Right.